From clean to crunch. Check it out. Hey, this is Fred from Peavey Electronics. I'm here with Jason to check out the Invective.112 combo. We're super excited about this amplifier. This is one of the most versatile amps we've made so far. It's got a fantastic clean channel, which is an excellent platform. We're going to go through some of these features now. So let's get started and check out the clean channel. Besides the fantastic clean channel, it also has the lead channel that most players would expect. In addition, on the lead channel, we've got a tight switch, a gate, a boost, so you can get multiple combinations of gain stages, and of course, the screaming lead channel. All right, so that's a great screaming lead channel. We've also got this feature on there called tight. And what tight actually does is kind of a gain reduction. It takes it about 6 dB down. But what that effectively does is tighten everything up. Let's check that out. So see, that's super tight with that tight switch engaged. For a lead channel, take it off, shred. Now, add a little bit of sweet reverb. Proprietary to most all of our tube amps is resonance and presence controls. A lot of people think it's an EQ, but what it is on the power section of the amplifier, it allows the movement of the speaker to change with the volume. So for instance, on the resonance control, at lower volume, you want the speaker to move a little bit further away from center. So you get a little bit more woof at lower volume. But as you get louder, the speaker's going to mechanically want to move a little bit more, and you want to turn that resonance down. So it's not as woofy at higher volumes. So the resonance is actually controlling the speaker's ability to move, and it's proprietary and was actually invented by Peavey Electronics. And the presence is the same sort of feature on the high end. And both of those make a phenomenal difference in tone. And we're going to demonstrate that right now. Okay, so we'll go low volume and we'll turn the resonance up. So a little bit higher volume, you want a little less resonance because you could hear it at low levels, which we had there, that we needed to crank the resonance most all the way up to get it to sound as we would expect for that type of music. But at a higher volume, you don't need quite as much. So check this out. We'll turn the post gain up a little bit here, crank it, and then we're going to reduce the resonance control. We'll start it about halfway, and then we'll bring it up, and you'll see that it's probably a little bit more woofy than it needs to be at higher volumes. But that's exactly why you have this control. Check it out. So let's take a listen to the presence control as well. Start off kind of the same way. We'll have it set, at about 9 o'clock, and then we'll go from there. As you can see, that can get really, really bright, really, really fast. It's also great with the clean channel. It's particularly good if you've got some older strings. So check this out. What we'll do is we'll switch back to the clean channel, and then we'll add in some presence. We'll go from about 9 o'clock to maybe 3 o'clock on the dial, and then see what it sounds like. Check it out. So you can really hear how the presence control makes a big difference on the clean channel as well as on the lead channel. When we build amplifiers, we listen to our customers. And for years and years and years, of course, we built the sound of metal with the 6505, right? That is quintessentially the sound of an entire genre of music. And when we worked on this amplifier with Misha, the lead channel, he wanted that kind of character. But what he also wanted was the ability to put a boost in front of it and have some sort of gate. So this amplifier actually incorporates both of those on the lead channel, and the gate makes a huge difference, as evidenced by just right now. I turn this thing off and it's going to start. Obviously, the gate works. It's fantastic for doing crunch and palm mutes and getting that real tight sound, especially in conjunction with the tight feature that we actually talked about earlier. But the boost, that gives you a little bit of extra growl, and it works fantastic on the lead channel. You can get that reduced gain sound with the tight, add a little bit of boost, and you can get a completely different flavor of the amplifier. So let's check that out. What we're going to do is listen to the lead channel by itself. This is without the tight switch engaged, which actually lowers the gain about 6 dB, and without the boost, which is actually in front of the preamp, acts more like a pedal when you're hitting the boost control. So let's check that out real quick. This is just the lead channel. All right, now what we're going to do is that same kind of riff again, Jason, if you'll help me with that. And I'm going to add the tight switch, and you'll see how it tightens everything up. And then after that, we'll boost it and see what we get. So go ahead, and I'm going to add the tight switch while you play. See, that little less gain actually tightens everything up and is perfect for that style of music. Now we're going to boost the preamp a little bit. So we're going to hit the boost switch. That's going to give it a little more growl on the front end of it, and still we'll have the tight switch engaged, and this is a fantastic sound. Check this out. Now, just so you can hear the difference, I'm going to take both of those switches off. We'll take the tight switch off while he plays, and then I'm going to take the boost switch off while he's playing. So the first thing I'll remove is the tight. That'll add some gain. Then I'm going to remove the pre-growl, and you'll get to hear the channel by itself again. So go ahead and start playing. So obviously, one of the things we're all concerned about nowadays is being able to record in areas that you might not be able to get really loud. Also, playing a tube amplifier at its cranked level, sometimes is not conducive to having neighbors. So one of the features we've incorporated in this amplifier is a power switch on the back. So it goes from 20 watts to 5 watts to 1 watt. And what that allows you to do, or anybody, quite frankly, is crank the tube amplifier up, get the sound of a cranked tube amplifier at a much slower volume. So we're going to demonstrate that now. What we've been listening to is the 20 watts. Let's drop it down to 5 watts. And at the same time, I'm going to crank the volume a little bit so it gets the tubes to scream. What we're trying to do is get that power section of the amplifier running as hard as it can so it simulates that tube amp compression on the power section. So let's check that out right now. We're going to drop it down to 5 watts and have him play with a little additional volume on the post gain. 5 watts. Sounds pretty cool. We cranked the post gain control a little bit. That'd be a little loud for this room if we switched it back to 20 watts. But at 5 watts, you can still feel those tubes in the power sections breathing. You can actually feel that more when you say feel it. Guitar players, when they're playing, can feel what I'm talking about. It's not always audible as much as it is the way the tube amplifier reacts. So that's fantastic. It also goes all the way down to 1 watt if you want to play really, really quiet and crank it all the way up. And we'll try that right now. So the resonance and presence controls are actually fantastic when using the 5 watt and 1 watt feature itself. All these different features combine to make one of the most versatile amps that Peavey has ever made. In addition to that, this is the perfect amp if you have a lot of pedals. Most guitar players, they have more pedals than they do clothes. So because we're in the same thing today, right? So pedals are important, and a platform that accepts pedals are really, really important. So we spend an awful lot of time on the clean channel of the amplifier to make sure that there's enough headroom in there to put whatever pedals you want in front of it and not color the sound of the pedals going through the amplifier. And that's super important, and we spend a lot of time on it here. So we're talking about the pedal platform real quick, and I noticed you actually have the delay hooked up through the effects loop. Tell me why you did that.
Yeah, so with all time-based effects, you want that running through the effects loop. You're gonna get a better sound. It's not gonna take away from the natural sound of the amplifier at all. So you need the true amp sound along with the effect.
Right. So we've got a fantastic effects loop. It's very, very clean. He's got the digital delay hooked up through the effects loop. And I notice you've also got a couple distortion pedals and a gate in front of the amplifier. Now, this is where it's really important that the amplifier accepts pedals really well. You'll hear me say pedal platform a lot because you want the sound. If you're using pedals, you want the sound of the pedal through the amplifier. That's super important. What we've done is we've created a lot of headroom and a very transparent, clean channel so that the sound of the distortion pedals or whatever you have in front of the amplifier ring true all the way to the power section of the amp. And we have a fantastic effects loop. As you can see, it's a great pedal platform. What we were listening to was the sound of the delay through the effects loop, and we had a stomp box in front of it. Just one stomp box in front of it can make a fantastic sounding distortion, but you can have a full pedal platform with any number of pedals, and it's still going to have enough headroom to make it sound exactly like your pedals sound all the way through the amplifier right out the tube section. In addition to that, we have one of the best analog recording outputs in the industry. It's an MSDI output that was developed for one of our rather famous artists many years ago, and it's continued to be in most of our tube amplifiers since then. It's called the Microphone Simulated Direct Out. You've listened to this amp for a while. Tell me what you think. A lot of people, I'm obviously biased. Tell me what you think about the amplifier.
Fred, this is an awesome amp, man. I mean, it's so versatile. You've got a really nice sounding clean channel. As you guys know, with high gain amplifiers, sometimes that's where we suffer, the clean channels. When we go over to the lead channel, you've got multiple styles and subgenres of rock and metal that you can play with that. This thing covers everything.
Clean channel is what we were going after. We want to make this a fantastic pedal platform. We've already got the sound of metal. We know how to do that really, really well. We've been doing it for a very long time. But this is probably the most versatile amplifier we've ever made, combined with the noise gate, the tight switch, the boost in the front of it, the ability to record at any volume level, and the ability to crank the amplifier up at 20 watt, 5 watts for 1 watt. It's just a fantastic amp. You can get just about any sound you want out of it. Check out the rest of the Invective series right here.